laptop. I'm actually on laptop.
If I also came through laptop, it will be
Yeah,
much easier.
that's all right. I mean, We'll start with this. That's fine. For the time being. So good. I think we are good to go. I think we are recording it, and we are in a good place at the moment. And hopefully we will not. So I think we started the conversation about this thing about. Okay, first of all, we have to say it takes 39 minutes for both of us to figure out a video conferencing. Okay, so that's a record, right?
Right.
And you had, I'm sure you had some opinion which you were trying to be too polite and asking me why are you calling it Illusive Future. Do you not think this is a elusive time for us?
It is, Rohan, but I always teach or believe that you could always move to the future and look back. And then see the volatility to visibility is the equation. We could always move forward, fast forward to the future and look back. Then you see what it looks like. So that elusiveness can be illuminated, if I may put it that way.
So how do you, I mean, what do you see when you go to the future and look back at this era, this year 2020? I mean, I
Okay,
think
to me, if I am to do a scenario, if I move forward and look back, I see a total disconnect between countries right now, because we talked about a flat world, we talk about globalization. True, we have to fight this together. But having said that, what I see from future when I look back right now, that the situations every country will have to isolate itself. It will get isolated. Right now we are isolated. There are no flights. There are no shipments. We are only socially connected. We are economically isolated. So how do you handle a situation when you are compelled to be economically isolated? So that's where I see it is, at least in the short run, 2 to 3 months, maybe 6 months. There will be a economic isolation. Each country will have to manage their own affairs until we reconnect to the world. That's going to take time. So that's what I see.
But I mean, a lot of people will debate with you on this one. When you specifically made a statement like saying we are disconnected, I understand that economically we're disconnected. Don't you think that we respond to this a lot more faster? I mean, of course, every government took its own little time, but compared to some of the other pandemics that existed, like the Spanish flu and all that, there was a lot more awareness at least that got created as a result of this. I mean, I think that allowed governments to respond fast.
The way we are fighting the COVID-19, hats off, because we even cited as one of the top 5 countries on the preventive measures taken by the country.
Okay.
That's not what I am talking about. I'm talking, when I say isolation, I'm not talking about isolation for COVID. I'm talking about economic isolation. So all countries will get isolated because your connectivity is broken, and people are going to be looking at their own priorities before anything else. So that's the scenario I'm seeing. And how do we manage that period of isolation? Because we are an import economy.
Yeah.
Our dependency from fuel to food to energy to everything we are dependent. So when you are compelled to be disconnected, because priorities are changed. I mean, countries, they are all focusing on their own. But how do you find opportunity in such a center? That's the isolation I'm talking about.
Okay.
Look at us.
Yeah.
Look at us. I mean, a classic example.
Yeah.
Take the household economy.
Yeah.
Where are we? Right?
Okay.
So that's the isolation I'm talking about.
Okay, so
but we still find a way for food to come in. We still find a way. So entertainment is cut down. Lifestyles have changed. So that's what I see when I go and look back. And so how do we handle that? So if you can visualize then your ability to adapt will be faster, it will less pressure, less stressful. So that's where I'm coming from, Rohan. I mean, I'm sure I might sound pretty controversial and idiotic to some people, but that's what Porter says. If you are a strategist, go to the future and look back and be there when the market gets there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that I agree. Yeah. But let me. I mean, do you think? I don't think anyone really expected this to happen like this, right? I mean, the level of scale and all that type of thing. I know you're a person who's very much into a lot of these, kind of spirituality and in terms of personal development, mental wellness and stuff like that as well. Because I mean, we'll touch on that as much as possible or today as well. But I want before I go there, but let me just bring you back into this economic and all that, because I think this entire kind of session started off from you and me getting into a phone call and debating about banks, and I want to touch on this, right? So I also pick on banks in Sri Lanka, right? So you and I debated about this. Now there was a very interesting thing about 3-4 banks, commercial bank have made like 15 billion and etc etc. So all these banks have reported these amazing profits. It's almost like it's a sign of bragging, right? And today, I mean, I'm a small business owner and I have had a few other organizations. They are struggling and they are announcing pay cuts, and cash is the king. um, what is your advice to these companies? I think you also have enough experience on this. I mean, what is your advice to these guys?
See, I've been a bank all my life.
Yes.
A lot of my friends are in the industry still, so it might be
I know about
controversial to what I need to say. I mean, lots of posts are going around in the social media highlighting the profits that the banks are making.
Yeah.
I sometime back I brought about research on the total reserves